These peas are in a nice line under the frame, so it's pretty clear where they are. Water is important for them, but strangely enough, not too much. The instructions for peas say don't water for the first 4 days because they're very prone to rotting, and probably many seeds are. So they'll rot in the ground and you'll never see them. You go, I wonder what happened to them, birds, whatever. But no, they just rotted out. So keeping the right amount of moisture is critical. Remember, these seeds are tiny, 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 tiny things. And the amount of moisture they're going to uptake is very, 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 very little. But they don't like getting wet and then drying out fully either. So it's all a bit of a balance. Again, we've got 2 rows here. Again, more parsnips and more carrots. Not sure which is which, but it doesn't matter actually, because when they come up, hopefully they will, you'll be able to see the difference straight away. So the sticks are there to remind you the line that they're in for watering in the early phases, and to remind other people not to stand in those lines. If you stand on them, or the dog comes in and stands on the line, you'll push the seeds right the way down and you'll never see them again. So the ground has got to be left undisturbed while the seeds are sprouting. Well, they have to be even when you see them, but they are more obvious when they're out of the ground. This stage is very critical for tiny baby seeds, tiny baby seedlings. They're trying to get out of the ground and they need water, but they don't need too much water. And it's the critical time for seedlings coming from seeds to be undisturbed, a little bit of moisture, nice warmth. So these are a winter crop now. They're laid in March in New Zealand, and it'll be 4, 5, 6 months before they mature, because they'll start. The heat now will get them going, but then when it cools down, they'll grow much more slowly. But they could be sweeter as well too. Remember, when you hear about winter crops this and winter crops that, it often means they've got to be planted in summer, or the seeds have got to be laid in summer and they will mature in winter. If you try to put the seeds in the middle of winter, often nothing will happen at all. So winter crops means winter maturing crops. The tools of my trade, a watering can, and you just dip it in the barrel to fill it up. It's all much quicker. I'll talk more about watering cans. My carrots and parsnips looking really smart. Happy with them. Good little fellas. As are my radishes. Got radishes here. No, here. Yeah, here. And these are baby ones. I'd have to say it's immensely pleasurable to get well-spaced veggies in a straight line like that. When they come out, it's a great feeling of achievement. You notice we're inside a walled garden here. We cannot have rabbits eating. We cannot have rabbits scratching and digging around. And we can't have the dog coming in and digging around and scratching, which he does as well too. The baby seeds and even little seedlings like this would not tolerate that. Just a few zucchinis. Just 5 plants we had. And this is just a small percentage of the zucchini we have off them. It's unbelievable. This is onions, red onions. We decided to grow them because they're quite expensive. Brown onions are pretty cheap. And they run here under this mesh to stop rabbits digging them up. Now I'm showing you this because you probably didn't see those, because They're tiny. They're in the ground from seedlings, and they're here. Little guys. Quite a few of them are coming up. It's very encouraging to see them as well too. But you've got to again have your eyes all alert for them. Because you can say, oh, I didn't get any, but they're right in front of you. I repaired my flying Japanese fish this morning. I put a new one on, the black and white one, and the green one was all tangled. They're very cheerful when they're flying in the wind. I like them. This is another stage where you have to be very careful. Keep them moist, but not too wet. You probably can't even see them. It's only when you get down and you can see the tiny little baby carrots coming up. And over here, just because I know, these ones are parsnips. At a very critical stage, if they don't have an extended dry period, they'll just die. And it's really important that something like the dog doesn't run over them either. Next to these cabbages, we've got a row of carrots and a row of parsnips. I've become quite fond of parsnips. They're really good when they're mixed together and cooked with mashed carrots and mashed parsnips together. And they're looking very smart, all in a row here. And it's not just about being smart looking. At the very early stages, there were many, many weeds in here. And the only way you can tell weeds from veggies is that the veggies are in a straight line in between these sticks. 1, 2, 3. And that's why I put the sticks in. It's just a way of differentiating veggies from weeds in the early phases. Like weeds will always grow faster than your veggies, and your veggies will become overrun with weeds if you don't know which is which. Had a very good strike rate here with carrots. Not so great with parsnips, but parsnips are bigger anyway, so it's good that they're further apart. They look really good, don't they? These ones are very healthy now. I can see a few weeds under there I better get out. Carrots, parsnips. Nice. Very happy. Okay, I'm going to put down here a row of parsnips, baby carrots too. So the first job is just to weed it and dig it a little bit. Okay, it's coarsely dug up. Only took a couple of minutes. You notice we're inside a walled garden here. You can do it outside, but you'll need to take protection against things like dogs and of course rabbits. Dogs just crazily run through everywhere and will crush the baby seeds. And rabbits will dig it up. So you got to be careful. Baby seeds are very fragile. Okay. I'm going to start by redigging it again with a little fork, little shovel like this to break up all the lumps. I'm going to fix the line of seeds. Now these are going to get quite big, these carrots, so I've got to keep away from them. So I'm going to stay out about here. And the second one in here. There'll be a third one back here, but it's probably off screen. Save this worm. Get out all the little seeds, little weeds. These cabbages are going to get quite big, so I'm going to probably come back a bit even actually. Come out this way a bit. Now I'm going to go through and looking for lumps still. Bit of a lump under there. As the roots go down, you don't want them finding things like that. Maybe I could have tilled it more, but this technique works quite well, because you're now working directly in the line of the seeds. Nothing like your hands to just feel underground for what you're doing. Right, so we're far away from those cabbages, far enough away from these carrots. So I'm okay with that. Save this worm too. That's quite fine enough. Now I'm just going to make the line in between the two sticks for the little seeds. I'm going to do parsnips, so they're a bit bigger than the carrots, and maybe you'll be able to see them. Still crushing little bits of soil that I find. Parsnip packet, I've used it before. Don't try to rip these aluminium foil things, they'll fly everywhere. So I've cut it with scissors and sellotaped it back up when I used it last. I've done heaps of them. I lie. These parsnips are smaller than the carrot ones. So this is probably amongst the hardest seeds to plant. So I'm going to take quite some time with my hands to plant them separately from each other. The thing says 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres apart, 1 centimetre deep, 2 centimetres apart. So we'll see how we can do. They say you can thin them. Often you'll find you won't do that. So the trick is to plant them as much as you can at the distance you want apart. So to pick them up, you need dry hands. Dry, not clean, but dry. Otherwise they'll stick to your fingers and they won't fall into the ground, into the ditch. So I'm going to put it in my hand. You can see they're tiny, tiny little seeds. So now I'm going to get down on my elbows actually. This is the only way I find that it works, so you can just focus completely on what you're doing. Separating them out, grab a seed, drop it in. Rolling them in my fingers to keep the try and make them singles. Fingers get get some moist soil on it, wipe it off. Too wet in there, I'll live with that. All your efforts for planting and preparation is all about this moment when you place them at more or less the right depth, more or less the right spacing, and not doubles or triples, because they'll just crowd each other. Right, so they're in that line. So now I'm going to get some soil from somewhere else, like here, and crush it up and crush it into the ditch. So fine soil on the top. This is when having these sticks is very handy, because you can see exactly the line that you're in. Taking care not to put too much in any one spot. Pull out any lumps. It's a bit shallow over there. Okay, so now I've got it. Now I'm going to use the palm of my hand, this bit here, to compact the soil. Not the fingertips, you might push them too deep. Focusing on that line between the sticks. I'm also trying to create a little bit of a dip where water can collect and water them. So that's done. You're not pressing hard, just tapping it with the palm of your hand, the heel of your hand, whatever you want to call it. And that's it, other than watering. So I now know there's parsnips in there, more or less the right depth, more or less the right spacing, and happy with that. Other than watering. This is exactly what I warned about when my packet fell over and has dropped all the seeds. That's really annoying. There's plenty left, but what I'm going to get is a whole bunch of sproutings right there where I don't want them. So I'm going to try and get them out. This is exactly what I warned about when my packet fell over and has dropped all the seeds. That's really annoying. There's plenty left, but what I'm going to get is a whole bunch of sproutings right there where I don't want them. So I'm going to try and get them out. Right, I'm going to put carrots in now. Not 100% sure that I put the silver things back in the right packet on the previous occasion. I'm presuming these are carrot seeds. It's really important then when you, well anyway, they're carrots or parsnips, the row could be reversed, doesn't matter. They're very clear, as you can see from the other side. You'll soon see what you get when they grow. I don't even bother putting labels on. It's very important that you keep running your fingers up and down here, because you'll find lumps, bits of wood from your compost, and keep running your fingers through, getting rid of lumps and weeds and all of that. Doesn't matter if they land on their side or what. Doesn't matter. Couple went in there. Couple more. Spread them out a bit if I can. Okay, they're all in there now. They look nice, don't they? I'll put the seeds back in the packet soon. I'm getting soil from outside somewhere. Crush it in my hand, sprinkle it over the seeds. Bit of greenery there. You certainly don't want weeds coming up in the middle of these. They can cope with weeds later on, but not early on. Weeds will always grow faster than the things you want. Sort of them. And then the heel thing again. Heel of your hand. Okay, that's done. Parsnips, carrots, or carrots, parsnips. I'm not even sure. The big seed, well, I'm sure I would have put it back in the right packet. Doesn't matter. Okay, the second part of that row I did without filming, but there they are, nicely in a row. Try not to put too many seeds in your hand, otherwise you'll have to put them back, which is difficult. Keep your hands as dry as possible, otherwise they won't fall off the tip of your finger into the little trench you've made for them. Now I just mound that over again, palm it down. There we go. 2 nice rows of beet vegetables or root vegetables. Same as I've got over there. So I'll be getting them at different stages. These ones are in second week of April. So it's well into autumn for us. So these will be much slower than those ones. But that doesn't matter. That's good. Now for the critical phase of watering them. You need a watering can with a very fine spray, because you can't just splosh them with a hose or anything like that. It's just not possible. You just wash everything out everywhere. So I've got this little metal watering can. It's got quite a fine rose on the end. So just a gentle water, just trying to make it damp without standing on them. Almost stood on it, contrary to me just saying that. That's it. Not too much water. Might be enough for 2 days, that first watering, depending on the weather. I think it's supposed to rain here, so you'll do it. But they're underway now. The water will kick them off. But you've got to watch it for 2 weeks. These are slow to sprout, at least 2 weeks. I think carrots come up quicker than the parsnips. Do a bit of study about it, how long they're going to take. If a week's gone by and they haven't come up, don't panic. 2 weeks, 14 to 18 days, they'll be there. And but water them. If the soil looks at all dry, give them a water. That's it, really. Now the little things will do it all on their own. These guys are going very well. I'm really pleased with what I've done. Some leeks, quite a lot of leeks. They're from commercially bought seedlings, tiny seedlings though. More leeks along there. And these are radishes grown from seeds. It's been quite hot, so radishes don't like heat. So we'll see how they go. And here we are, 1 month on, from the beginning of April to the second week in May. So this is the last month of autumn in New Zealand. Here, running a line along here, the little parsnips, and slightly bigger little carrots next to their big brothers. Tiny little things, and a bunch at the end, which often happens because you drop too many seeds at the end. So this growth rate is half that of in the warmer months, and I've been waiting for them to come up. I've probably lost some to rot. I'm very pleased that some came up at all, because it gets colder and it's much slower. So your winter crops have to go in the ground in the warmer months. In summer, second month of summer, maybe the third even, maybe even the first month of autumn. But it's this was a very late planting, and they'll be slow to develop. I'll still leave it a little bit longer to weed this, because I'm very nervous about weeding them when they're so tiny. This is my first bunch of parsnips and carrots. They're growing very strongly. In fact, I've checked underneath and I've got good veggie development. My middle batch is going very well with the parsnips here and carrots over there. Much slower growing as we come into winter, but they're well established. It's nice how the shadows follow the lines of the sticks. You can see the value of the sticks before they get big. You can see the lines much easier, although this lot is okay now. My wife raises many of our vegetable seedlings from seeds, and she's quite good at that. Quite good. The celery here, and lettuces I think we bought though. However, many things you have to grow from seeds in the ground. These ones along here are radishes. They're getting near ready. And this line here are baby radishes. Supposedly the easiest thing to grow. But you've got to look after them. You've got to keep them wet. So what I'm going to show you here is about putting seeds in the ground. It's not as straightforward as you think. Here's a good example of how things can go awry. Over here, there are 2 individuals that I must have dropped. Another bunch down here. But most of them are in a line, which is nice.